Blackfeather here and not even go for the Idris and maybe give the Idris over to Dynasty and just have that Blackfeather versus Idris matchup, which potentially could pan out because Blackfeather also can be flexed. Palmataro does play CP Blackfeather as well, so they can also play CP Blackfeather. So is Fnatic going to then prioritize that Blackfeather, because Glaive isn't good into Grace. You should not play Glaive into Grace. They're definitely not going to play Glaive, and they're definitely not going to play Idris. So I think they may opt for the Blackfeather here. But let's see. Oh, wow, they are going to take away the Glaive from the PT Lamb. And this is risky because Glaive is easier to stun with the Holy Noah coming out from Grace.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely can get caught out on Glaive, but then Glaive can also catch other people out very easily as well. So kind of high risk, high reward coming out from Fnatic, and that's likely to go over to Techno JJ. We have seen him play Glaive in the past, but now Dynasty, they have the opportunity to grab both of their next picks here. What's the likelihood?
Idris, I think, is going to be most likely. You can see it's one of PT Lamb's most played hero. I believe it's his most played hero. And it goes so well with a Grace, Idris Grace. Even though Glaive is one of the few melees that can deal with the Idris, it's just such a strong duo, but they're going to grab themselves a Blackfeather
and probably Scarf, I think, because they don't want to deny Scarf from Fnatic. And Scarf is just good in case Fnatic plays Petal or anything like that. He's just a really good counter. So Samuel or Scarf may come out, but I feel like they may want to take away the Scarf from Fnatic and not give it to them, or just play Samuel, because Samuel and Scarf are more of a skill matchup. And yep, they're going to take the Scarf away, and this now leaves Fnatic to then pick the Samuel here, because melee, any cruel, anything like that would not be smart into a Grace and a Scarf with the stun and the slows that can come out of that. And plus, Blackfeather has a slow with his on point too. So I think Samuel will probably be the most likely option here for Fnatic.
Samuel definitely open for them if they do choose to pick that one. They've got 25 seconds still to play with, so weighing up the options. Obviously, Crawl's still available. We've seen them pick it into a Petal before,
yeah,
so
and won.
I feel like at this point
Fortress.
they're willing to pick it into anything.
Yeah, it would be a really, really tough matchup here, but it's definitely a possibility. But it is going to be a Sky. This is a really good pick. Sky is very, very strong, and against a Scarf, you can reposition yourself a lot and make it very difficult for Scarf to be able to get that Dragon's Breath onto the entire team. It's also just another potential stun to try and stop a Scarf ultimate.
Yeah, so looking to shut down that Scarf. How are we feeling the playstyles are going to be playing out in this game, Suijay?
Yeah, well, Grace is stronger early game with Scarf than Sky is, but if Sky gets to late game, Fnatic's going to win, because Sky is a great counter into Grace and Blackfeather. So I think Fnatic is going to take this if they go to late game like that.
So if they can get to late game, we know Palmataro is an exceptional mechanical player. How are you feeling this one's going to pan out, Bacon?
I like the draft from both sides. I think they both have very present and prevalent strengths. It's really going to be positioning is going to be so important in team fights, and who is, as per usual, who is more aggressive, who is the ones dictating when and where fights happen.
All about the pace of the game. Well, it's just about time we jumped into our grand final for Europe today. Hashtag Vainglory on Twitter is how you can get involved in the conversation and let us know who you want to take this one. But it's time to get into our final. So let's pass it over to our casters for Dynasty Gaming up against Fnatic.
Wow, Dynasty Gaming up against Fnatic. This one's going to be hard to predict, but Jackson, I can tell you one thing. I think the team that kills their opponent's Vein Crystal first, probably going to be the winner.
I think that's very likely, Humanist. It is usually the case at the very least. I really like the composition that we have coming out of Dynasty. I think this really plays to their strengths as a team with, what we've seen from them previously being, good rotations, good team play. PT Lamb has been great at causing a lot of disruption and really messing with the plan of their opponents, trying to get onto Rikaneza on Scarf. On the other side, I don't dislike what Fnatic bring to the table either. They got a lot of playmaking heroes, and these are definitely playmaking heroes too. Players.
Yeah, a lot of potential to make these plays this game, and excited to see what they can do. Net moving over a little late with that sigil. He wanted to steal the mid away. That's not going to be a problem for him. He's thinking about moving over, but Mowgli's going to do a good job to just kind of zone Net to let out, make sure he's not playing any real games. Palmataro, though, on the Sky. This was actually a pick that was mentioned earlier by our analyst. Hold that. Afterburn back. PT Lamb getting burned down. He's on top of the sigil. One more attack should be enough. It's going to come through from Net to let. First blood to Fnatic. Well, I was saying, I think Palmatoro Sky, this is when Secret was winning championships. This is the pick that he was playing consistently. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and I was talking about playmaking heroes, right, for Fnatic, and the fact that they like those, certainly showing it already, finding themselves a kill. This is a different pace to what we saw in Calamity versus Dynasty earlier on. You know, they're really sticking it to Dynasty, making it difficult for them to get to the point where they can even start making the kind of plays they like to, the very, rotation-focused plays that we've seen from Dynasty.
Net, once again, trying to steal away the Elder Treant, but it's going to be secured up by Riku Meza himself. That means Fnatic will just go through their normal rotation. Palmatoro will be moving up into the lane as he already cleared out his jungle. Hasn't made it his way back yet. Another afterburn. This is so bad for PT Lamb. I love you, PT Lamb, but you have died twice here, and this is not what you're looking for.
Yeah, so on the desk, Squeejay was talking about the fact that Glaive is not a particularly good pick into Grace. That is true, but Grace has not been there either of the times that PT Lamb has died. And that, really speaks to the way Fnatic are utilizing their draft. They are playing to their strengths. They are not trying to, do anything necessarily that is counterplay to what Dynasty has to offer. They're just saying, all right, we got a Glaive. You know what Glaive's great at, right? Early game ganks, early game kills, making plays happen in the lane.
You got to wonder as time goes on, it's like, this was about making sure that Scarf comes online, right? Mowgli's really been putting in a lot of his resources just to make sure that Riku Meza has a good time early on. So we'll find out, is PT Lamb having a rough time worth it as long as Riku Meza does come online?
I don't know. I think the thing is Riku Meza was likely going to come online no matter what. Especially when you pair him with a Grace. Like, you know that Riku Meza is going to be fine. We've seen Scarfs plenty today. They clear so quickly that your windows of opportunity for punishing them are actually very low. Few and far between, the better way of describing it. And, on top of that, I think Riku Meza, even if he did die once or twice, normally it's not a punching death. Because you clear so quickly, early on a kill is only worth so much, whereas the jungle is worth a lot. But you're more likely to just find Scarf and not find camps on top. So I actually think that, Riku Meza was always going to be fine, PT Lamb was always going to be the challenge, and I'd like to see Mowgli spend more of his time up here in the lane as a result of that. It might be too little too late, perhaps PT Lamb is falling behind by quite a lot at this point. Although there's a fat wave about to hit the turret. Make sure he can actually get all this, though.
You know what I really like? Mowgli has Fountain now. He just dipped to the shop. But this was an opportunity. Riku Meza just sat there. He soaked up like almost a wave and a half of farm, ambient gold coming off of PT Lamb's last hits there. That's super efficient. That's really good to get that extra little boost of gold onto the Scarf. And, we were talking about earlier that, these are the little things that these teams are doing that just put themselves a little bit ahead. You hit that item spike, that power spike, maybe hit a level just, 20 seconds before your opponent. It can have a big deal.
It absolutely can, especially when you're playing a Scarf who really wants levels earlier on, because Scarf spikes quite heavily. Be curious to see if Riku Meza actually goes for a level with his ultimate set, because we've seen a number of Scarfs not do that. I think it's a fine choice. He does pick it up. Okay, so that signals to me they're planning on having some proper team fights more than just sort of poke wars or sieging or pushing. We've also got the Frostburn now onto him. Riku Meza has hit a spike quite early. PT Lamb isn't in the same kind of position now. He's struggling a lot more compared to Tetno, who's farming very effectively.
Benediction in there. Mowgli just gonna poke around, play some games. There's your afterburn. PT Lamb, he's having a rough time. Death from above, not quite connecting. Palma just a little bit behind. Dragon's Breath from Riku Meza coming out here. Maybe a little bit defensively looking to zone Fnatic back, kind of threaten them, posture the Porcupine Quills poking out here from Riku Meza as he senses the aggression from Fnatic. That is the Fountain burned for both of these squads, though, so they're kind of just right back where they started.
They are. I think that's honestly fine for both teams, but probably a bit better for Fnatic. The reason being that they now have reset this situation and start trying to pressure again. If Dynasty move up, they got to be careful.
Mowgli's doing such a good job to Benedict his way in, and then Palmatoro wants to target him down with the Ford Barrage, but he's got that full Holy Shield, which is pretty good.
Oh yeah, the Holy Shield perk from Grace is massive. Does so much work. I like the fact that PT Lamb's actually starting to soak a bit of experience down here as well. He has been really struggling in lane, so getting it where he can make sense. And actually, in experience, he's starting to supersede Tetno, in fact. Which I guess
really
makes sense, because Tetno has had teammates with him for a lot of the time. Bad time to back there. PT Lamb loses 3 farm, maybe? Around that.
Like, getting Rose offensive, though, is going to be a huge deal for him.
Oh yeah, massive. Because it basically changes the dynamic completely with the glaive, right? But prior to level 6, PT Lamb cannot do anything if he gets jumped on. But once he hits that, as long as he doesn't do it inside of the right bullet, he'll be fine.
Dynasty, more than any other team that we've seen out of Europe this week, utilizing these minion candies. And once again, we see it happening again. Mowgli had brought a minion candy, but PT Lamb also holding his own minion candy. So these guys really trying to abuse the power of this wave as they march forward. Death from above really zoning Dynasty out. They're forced forward, but there's nothing to follow. Tetno really making sure to get those last hits. It felt like maybe they had an opportunity there.
They would have done had Bright Bulwark not been used prior to it, I think.
That makes sense. Let's jump forward. Oh, nice after bring back. PT Lamb, though, just gets healed up. Divine Intervention. Netlet will throw that fountain out, keeping his team alive. A Suri Strike from Palma resets that forward barrage. It connects onto Riki Meza and Mowgli. They're melting down, but they kind of share the damage. They spread it out there very nicely. And honestly, until Palmatora does get up his Broken Myth running, the threat output, not too huge.
Yeah, not just yet. It does respectable damage, but nothing too crazy. Plus, Palma's actually maxed his Suri Strike this game, which does give you more resets of your forward barrage, but less damage on each forward barrage, which is one of the reasons why you're not seeing Palma melt people the same way that you sometimes do see Skies melt people in the early game. I think it's fine, though. I think you definitely want to have Suri Strike pretty high level here against the Grace and the Black Feather, who can really pressure the Sky very effectively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it's also like when you're dealing with Spitfires, dodging them, and then, Bacon was talking about it as well. When Dragon's Breath comes through, Fnatic actually are very capable at spreading out and still having a clean team fight. So it's going to be hard to land those 3-man Dragon Ultimates.
Absolutely, but at the same time, it's also pretty reasonable that Dynasty could split, with Blackfeather being the threat on the front line, Mowgli kind of in the middle, playing intercept, and Rikamez on the back line, which makes things like Death from Above and Bright Bulwark, to an extent, difficult to utilize effectively. You can't just have one stone killing all 3 birds. You got to actually decide which of the things you want to prioritize.
Well, maybe they can get 2. They can't get all 3.
Yeah, precisely.
Slightly 2-0 Fnatic up here, 9.5 minutes in. A lot of teams have been kind of slow rolling it today, Jackson. A little bit, not putting the foot on the gas, just methodically moving forward here, taking their time, buying the time, waiting for that perfect opportunity. Maybe a predictive Bright Bulwark coming down out of that, but that's going to be on cooldown. 18 seconds here. Whoa. As Fnatic look to get some damage down. Palma eats that Spitfire. You can tell Sky has high damage output potential, but is incredibly squishy.
Yeah, and Rikameza is starting to hit really hard, too, with max rank on that Spitfire. This is a little bit different, we're seeing very different ability builds coming out of Palma and Rikameza. Rikameza, I would say, is the bigger threat right now, which is actually kind of weird. You would expect the Sky to be a bigger threat early.
I'm a little tilted off of Palmatoro's Sky play right now, honestly.
I think it's kind of... I don't know. It's a little strange. I like the max of the Suri Strike, but the more I think about it, the less I like it early. You're playing with Glaive and Lyra, you can make plays. They're the ones who can be mobile and mess up what Dynasty's trying to do. You need to be the one to deal damage. And right now, Palma's not really doing good damage. Although he does have a Broken Myth, that's a good pickup.
Yeah, this is the big power spike here for the CP Sky. And we'll see if Palma continues to play as he's been, just kind of kiting across the lane, just drifting across, catching them with some forward barrage. Yeah, the harass has been there, but not as much. You see like one Spitfire land onto Palma, all of a sudden he's like, okay, fight's over. Suddenly, Dynasty are moving in here. Bright Bulwark's down, Holy Nova not going to connect onto Net. Net takes a bit of damage. Once again, just using this Lyra, heals himself and his ally right back up, doing a very good job to abuse the Sigil here.
You know, I was trying to think about why Rickamez is doing so much damage right now, and it occurs to me that there's no shield on Palma or Net Toilet. I think that's kind of a mistake. Normally, you don't see Scarfs chunking like this on one item, 1.5 items, because people do tend to buy shield early on. This time around, everyone's just committed to either armor or nothing, in the case of Palma. And Rickameza is just doing a little bit more work than he should be because of it. It's really stopping Fnatic from being able to utilize their aggressive items, right? Like, that's one of the reasons why you buy defense, to let you play offense.
I'll have to take it from you. I don't buy too much defense myself, to be honest. I'm not lying. I'm a big proprietor of, you know, if positioning is oftentimes it is the majority of winning a fight a lot of times. Well, especially with a hero like Skye, reflex block to make sure that you don't get locked down if there is something you need to worry about. This game, she doesn't really need to worry about it that much. So you just make sure that you are a damage threat. Especially the idea with Skye is we see probably Eva Harvest come out next, so he's going to use that mobility to dance around the fight, make sure that he's not taking too much damage, and where he is, he'll heal that back up. This may be the fight we're looking for here, though.
The
Holy Nova connects onto Techno, Death Row above, kind of zoning them out. This is PT Lamb on the front line. Ford Barrage doing good work, but Dragon's Breath melting right back through. PT Lamb hits the on-point onto Net Toilet. Mowgli getting melted down, burned down right there where he stands, falls onto his back, and we'll have to respawn 15 seconds from now, almost at 15 minutes. About 13 minutes into this game, 3-0 Fnatic. They have a slight net worth lead, but they have control of this game. And with that control, they're going to move in. They're going to take down this first turret here.
What a tragedy, Humanist. So Rickameza is sitting there, and he's like, alright, every time I Spitfire the Skye, she loses about a fifth of her health. Let's go for a fight, guys. I think we're actually in a better position than maybe you'd expect us to be right now. Also, oh, Palma doesn't have any shield. Yeah, let's definitely go for a fight. And then they engage, and Palma literally just bought shield. That sucks. That's so brutal. There is something to be said for concealing your items till the last minute. I don't think Fnatic expected that, and it mitigated, you know, people talk about it all the time, like level 1 shield is like 25% mitigation. That's massive. That's a big difference. It really stopped Dynasty from being able to commit onto the targets they wanted. And also Techno is the worst possible target to go on first, because a lot of their damage is coming out from Rickameza right now, and Techno actually had me just a while ago.
Yeah, honestly, from my perspective, it did feel like that was a very impatient fight from Dynasty. Something they didn't have to do but chose to do. It didn't work out so well for them. There you go. Palma starting to get some damage ramping up here. A couple BM stacks for him. Mowgli's going to jump in, but does leave him a little bit out of position. Surrey Strike and the Ford Barrage is going to be absorbed by a lot of that minion wave coming down the lane there. You could see, though, PT Lamb, he's going to have to seriously respect what Palma can do here.
Absolutely. You can see as well, like, Palma is not taking nearly as much damage per Spitfire from Rickameza. It's big. It really does make his life a lot easier. Dynasty still wants to contest the gold mine, though. They're going to try something here.
Dude, just kill Mowgli. Like, if Mowgli wants to sit on the front line like that, just let him stack up your broken myth. Switch over to another target. The gold miner will drop off. This is Dynasty. They're going to move over into the Tri-Brush. Fnatic do not want to contest this. Why not? Weapon Infusion dropping off of Techno right now. Palma's not infused. Palma has his Eve of Harvest now.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pickup. He actually had that before the last fight too, I think. I think Fnatic needs to make plays now. If they wait too long, then Scarful and Blackfeather get too scary. Blackfeather will just deal Palma. But right now they have a window. They need to go, though. Like, Techno, look at Techno's build, too. He's just hit, like, a second offensive item. He's close to a third. I really think Fnatic need to fight. Things get scary later when Grace just resets whoever you put Palma and Techno onto.
I really feel like this is... A lot of times you don't want Skye on the front line, but they have a really cool composition where you can let Palmatoro do a bit of the poking, just throwing forward barrage. If they engage, you just Surrey straight back, drop a Bright Bulwark, and Techno's ready with an Afterburn to peel. And conversely, like if Techno does engage, it gets kind of awkward for them.
Kraken's on the map now, by the way, so anytime a fight happens, the stakes are huge. They swap on the Palma here. 3-on-1, PT Lamb misses the on point. What's the play here? Techno's on the backside. It's the Rose offensive over
Tetno. Tetno sitting in that goop, burning down, but he's actually very tanky. PT Lamb eating so much forward barrage damage. Divine Infringe keeps him alive. He's going to stay into this fight, jumps back in with the Faint of Heart. PT Lamb's there, but it's Riku Meza with the Dragon's Breath burning, but Palma spinning him in circles, round and round. Oh my gosh, ring around the rosy. Palmatoro, another Surrey Strike, the forward barrage. He gets the sigil healed up. PT Lamb using the Kraken to absorb, but that, look at that death from above. What an angle right there. What a geometry, just a phenomenon right there.
PT Lamb had on point. He might have been able to stay alive long enough to get Rose offensive back at the end of that fight, but he on pointed just off to the side where there was no one. Very dicey play there. Ultimately, though, good fight from the side of Fnatic. They split very effectively. They made it so that Rikumeza could not land Dragon's Breath onto everyone. Notably, Rikumeza still does not have Eve of Harvest. He took a big divergence out of his path to go defensive itemization, and I think it would have been good for Palma to have one tier 1 shield earlier, a little bit different than Rikumeza going reflex block and tier 2 armor. But that's really slowed him down. He's not able to stay alive in the fights the same way that Palma is.
Honestly, though, okay, yeah, I'll give you that point. But at the same time, Rikumeza using Dragon's Breath in that fight, Palmatoro, he literally spun him in circles. Like, yeah. Rikumeza was just trying to catch up to you. Palma's like, I'm over here. Surrey Strike, I'm over here. You can't keep up with that. Dragon's Breath's going to come out, Death from Above, a little bit zoning there as they kite back. Palmatoro doing a very good job. That's a no-wave gauntlet actually coming out onto the Grace. A nice job from Fnatic, but this is Tetno dropping low. PT Lamb jumped in, but it's Palmatoro on the backside. They find one. They find 2 kills. They've lost Tetno, but it's a 2-for-1. And now Net and Palmatoro thinking about moving forward. Mowgli pretty much out of this one, using that Grace move speed to his advantage. He's kind of hanging around here, playing with fire at this point. It looks like Fnatic probably just want to shove the way then.
Yeah, Palma's totally reset my opinion of this guy since the beginning of this game. I felt like he was playing very scared, kind of lackluster.
Oh, kill him! Oh, kill him! Get him! How dare you try to stand your ground? And that's why Sky's pretty good against Grace.
Yeah, it's really difficult to actually land your heal through the death from above. Palmatoro doing some serious work here. They find a turret, they find the kill. They don't have enough energy on Palma to necessarily go directly to Kraken, though. He's going to have to back.
Palmatoro. What a monster. Obviously, Sky fun to watch, but capable of having a large impact in the game in the right composition, played correctly. Palmatoro doing a good job. I was a little tilted on his play earlier, but I think he's really turned it up and very clear in his playstyle that he was just waiting, just waiting to get his level 12, waiting to get all the items he needs, and then pick a real clean fight.
Not trying to stop him back. It is arguable that he didn't need to, but ultimately, all's well that ends well, right? That's the way to think about it. It's
That's what
like,
some people say.
I ended up with a decent job, even though I didn't try hard in school. All's well that ends well. JK, stay in school.
Stay in school, kids. Esports, move. Tetno, what are you doing? Tetno, get back. It's the Bright Bulwark down. PT Lamb. Interesting Rose offensive there. Another no-wave gauntlet coming out onto Mowgli. Tetno, JJ, he's on the backside. Dragon Breath burning through the team. Netwilette, can you keep your team alive? He needs another Imperious Sigil to come out. Palmatoro, just Surrey Strike, throwing the forward barrage while trying to dodge out the Spitfires as well. The Goop, a Surrey Strike, another Divine Intervention coming out. PT Lamb is healed up. Now, this is a point where Dynasty do have a little bit of an advantage here. It looks like Palmatoro's gonna be going home. The Dynasty, they have a positioning advantage as well.
Dynasty needs to translate this into something, though. Because if they don't, they have to go back. Like, those are the 2 options. You either go back and heal, just reset, and you're like, okay, we nearly made this work, but not quite. Or you pick up an objective, which they don't do. Palma's already back. Kraken could even be started by Fnatic just to force Dynasty into an awkward position, given the fact that Mowgli's already a bit poked and PT Lamb's far away. But Fnatic this time going to be, taking it safe, playing it slow. They don't want to overextend.
That's right. We do not want Twitch chat to get too hype right now. I need to be able to read what is streaming down the text bar. And Fnatic, good fans here, playing it slow, making sure that nobody gets too excited in this moment. Well, Well, look, we got infusions across the board, everybody. Although they will be timing out, fresh infusion coming out for Tetno. This is another thing to keep our eyes on, is if there's a delayed engagement, maybe, you know, they're forced to kind of have a little standoff and then engage. We could see these infusions running out for one of these teams. Palmatoro, kind of strafing across, catching them with a little bit of that forward barrage, getting broken mist stacks. Once again, it's just Fnatic kind of poking, and Dynasty trying to do a little reconnaissance. Right now, Fnatic, they have the vision game in their favor.
Yeah, and that's kind of critical here, because you do not want to walk into a death bush where you actually have the Scarf ultimate just annihilating you. Also, walking to choke point's very dicey against a Grace. It makes it really hard to play around Holy Nova. Ideally, Fnatic want to fight in the most open spots possible. You know, it does allow for Sky to maneuver quite effectively as well. So, we'll see what happens.
I don't know if you mentioned, or if we had caught this before, War Tread's out on PT Lamb. That's just another tool. It's going to help Rikumez reposition as well. Pretty cool.
I actually really like that. Very good catch there, Humanist. That's big. Scarf needs to be able to position effectively in these fights, as does Mowgli, actually. You know, like, if you stagger these, it really does make it a lot easier to stick on top of Sky.
A nice start to the fight there, and almost one that Fnatic could have followed up on, but playing it safe, making sure that they have a real good engage. It's almost like Fnatic are kind of like they can sense the impatience out of Dynasty, and every single time is Dynasty engaging into Fnatic. It's rarely the other way around.
Yeah, I think that Dynasty are probably starting to approach a point where they're a little bit stronger. You know, Tetno falls off a bit harder in the late game than PT Lamb does, but at the same time, Palmatoro on the Sky versus Rikumez's Scarf, this is a battle for the ages. We've seen this literally since the beginning of my time with Vainglory at the very least, and it really can go either way. If Scarf lands the Spitfires, Sky's too squishy, but if Scarf misses the Spitfires, and Sky is too mobile to sit in the goop and take too much damage, and it's very easy to actually clean up the Scarf. It's an extremely skill-based matchup.
It really is. It really comes down to landing, dodging abilities, and at the same time, you know, Sky, just because you dodge the Spitfire doesn't mean you're landing forward barrage or death from above either. That's why Sky is one of the highest skill cap heroes in the game. For good reason, incredibly fun to watch. You can accomplish so much, but hard to execute on. To let being engaged, Bright Bull works down. Defensive afterburn over the wall from Tetno. Death from above catches out Dynasty, giving a couple broken mist stacks to Palmatoro. A problem here, and one reason maybe they didn't want to engage, is Palmatoro is actually not infused.
Dynasty need to convert that edge into something. Turret should be very doable. Scarf annihilates Seized.
No, but it's the portal in! The Atlas Pauldron landing, and they're going to get the good damage coming out onto PT Lamb. PT Lamb, the on point, gives him a little bit of time. He's going to jump back in onto net. Tetno finds the afterburn, but this is Rikumez burning through with the Dragon's Breath landing onto 3. He's in and out of the fight. Tetno will fall first. PT Lamb's low. Rikumez as well. Palmatoro, what's the play? Suri Strike, dance around. Be the god that all Fnatic fans want you to be. Quit holding back. Jump in, get a triple kill. Think to yourself, what would Redix do in a situation like this? Palmatoro, he's got the forward barrage, he's kiting backwards, Suri Strike, he's reset, another forward barrage, death row above, it's too far back, he goes down, executed! He's been taken down, PT Lamb, I love you, coming through, finding the kill. Dynasty Gaming, don't lose one.
What happened? Hana probably could have won that fight. I think that there was a few mistakes there. The biggest of which was just Suri striking on the spot to try and kill PT Lamb more quickly. Or maybe it was Mowgli. I forget who was on the front line. But going onto the back line, just killing Rikumeza would have set you up in a great position there. And he could have Suri striked onto the back line. Playing overly safe, I think, is what Palmatoro did there. No way is this going to steal it, right? No way. Oh, look for it!
That's what let's take a moment to appreciate how unbelievably godly this player is. He throws the sigil, realizes, okay, I was just a little bit too late. I'm gonna back out, then portal in, bright bulwark, and steal that. No, I'm done. Unbelievable play.
This is one of those games. One of those ridiculous games where nothing makes any sense. I cannot believe Net got that. This is so bad for Dynasty. That being said, I mean, Scarf kills Kraken quickly, But if Fnatic just like finds a window here to go in,
I would do the
get
same
some
thing.
damage
I would
down.
just portal Bright Bulwark and go. Suri strike over the top and kill him.
100%. I'm actually surprised they didn't do that. They could have at the beginning of that fight. Portal is not a very long cooldown here. I don't think they needed to play this slower. Like, playing slower like this works if you're Dynasty because you scale better. So you're just getting like a little bit of an additional edge. But at this point, I mean, we're 26 and a half minutes into the game, Humanist. Everyone's basically full build.
They are.
Basically. Rickameza needs one more upgrade on his armor, right? I guess Mowgli needs a contraption. We're pretty close, though. We're basically there. Sky's there.
I mean, is Tetno having a damage output in these fights? I've had a hard time kind of keeping track of Tetno.
Yes. So Tetno is being threatening to Rickameza, but not so substantially that it necessarily matters. Tetno, he's really there to build a wall between Palma and the opponents, stop Spitfires from landing, and offer the potential to execute someone if they stray too far. Ooh, Mowgli's so chunked right now.
Yeah, really good damage coming out of Ford Barrage at this point. Yeah, you can see the 4-item Sky burning through them. They have no Crystal Sentry. All Palma needs is the target lock. He can move forward. Is that his boots out? He's trying to chase. You can see Palma really wanted to pull the trigger there. And that could have been all she wrote if he had caught them, but they do get away.
Oh, this game is very stressful. Humanist, I'm quite tense right now. It could honestly go either way. I don't really think it comes down to comps at this point. I would say that, if anything, Dynasty has a small edge, but you can pretty much throw most things other than tactics out of the window at this point, because whoever in the moment makes the better plays is going to win this game.
Intense situation at this point. You know what I'd actually almost like to see? I think, and the reason I was talking about Tetno before, I think it could be cool to see a Null Wave Gauntlet come out on Tetno. To have two Null Waves out on this team when your main job isn't to be the damage output threat at this point could be pretty cool. But Fnatic, they move forward. We'll keep our eyes on the Null Wave from Net. Can he apply this in time to keep maybe a Fountain from coming out? Can Mowgli block that off? Yeah, such a precarious position to be in. 56,000 net worth over here for Fnatic at this point. So we're approaching the 29-minute mark of this game, 8-4. Bacon will let you do the kill per minute calculation on that one. In this game, it's been a little bit, you know, on the slow roll side of as far as the actual engagements and fighting and kills, but these guys have been kind of constantly making the rotations, making the plays, trying to force each other's hand. And it's a very interesting, very strategical game here as Dynasty find themselves on the forward side of the lane there, and I'm not sure what Fnatic are going to choose to do. Is they did the ring around the Rosy, dropped around the bottom side of the Kraken. They're going to move in. It's Mowgli between them. The turret's melting down.
Boy.
Okay, there you go. Arcane Passage into the Bright Bulwark. Holy Nova catches Net. This is an Atlas Pauldron. Apply it onto Tetno, but Tetno's not a huge damage source at this point. Look at the item silence onto Mowgli. It's not enough at this point. Palmatoro, Suri Ford, trying to pull a K Volivar there. What are you doing, bro? Dragon's Breath will come out. Net, they just disengaged. And there you go.
That's so BM. All right, Fnatic, they're in hot pursuit now, though. Lots of cooldowns already burned for Dynasty.
Well, they find a stun onto Sir PT Lamb, but he's pretty capable of getting himself out of danger at this point. Mowgli's still holding Fountain. Net still holding Fountain. I really want to... I'm not kidding. What would Redix do in a situation like this? Redix would jump behind the opponent.
Palma's just preserving his KDA right now. Like, 5-1-3, yeah, sure, it's great, dude. Good work.
Ever since we started putting out those Player of the Week stats, it just ruined it for him.
Honestly, though, like, that engaged by the turret, Net blinks in, bulwark. What does the team do? They're just miles away. They're doing no real things. I really think Fnatic needs to be more decisive together. I mentioned it before this game, right? Individually, playmakers. But if you're talking about team synergy, Dynasty's the team I'm looking at.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Really good analysis on that. It does feel like just mechanical outplayability coming down against this very strategical, very strong unit. Moving as a three-man from the first movement they made in this game to the 55-minute mark of this game. I'm kidding. 30-minute mark of this game. They've been really just as one. Now, Tetno, looking for the stun. You have to burn in there just a little bit too shy of finding a target. And Jackson... I feel myself gaining more power as this game goes on. 31 minutes in, I feel Like, this is just going to get insane here. I don't know. I can't control my excitement at this point.
I don't know. It's like, you know, if you're waiting for, I don't know, to hear back from a job you've applied for, and like it's getting closer and closer, and the tension just builds the apprehension and excitement.
Just
it's
the
like
build
that.
up.
Like, this needs to at some point finally end, and you hope it's going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes it more exciting in the moment, you know?
It does. Much more exciting. And which team will release their fury, power, destruction upon their opponent
This
first?
could legitimately be a 50-minute game. I'm not kidding. Like, how do you actually kill someone? They don't die quickly.
I don't know. Once you log Palmatora out and let me play real quick. We got his login credentials, don't we? Oh, hold that thought. That's Mowgli jumping in. Mowgli's like, yo, we're trying to make a play. Wartress, nice death from above, zoning him out. Palmatoro finds the damage. Nintendo finds the kill. They have the null wave out onto the Grace. Very good job from Netflix one more time. They burn him down. PT Lamb's down. I love you, but you're dead. Palmatoro chasing in here. This is Fnatic with advantage. Taking 2 down, only losing 1, and it's Tetno, the one that they wanted to fall if someone had to. And now this is Fnatic's chance. They're going to take this Kraken right here, and Jackson, they may be taking away your 50-minute game opportunity.
Nah, don't worry. Rick Mezza's got this. No, in all seriousness, like, I can't understand Mowgli's engaged there. I feel like he was trying to give space to his people in the lane. Maybe push or something, but that's not going to work out too easily. Does Kraken, how does Kraken scale over time? I've never seen a Kraken at 32 minutes. I'm actually kind of curious.
It should be okay, but right now this is, you gotta wonder, Riku Mezza, what have you done? Riku Mezza, no! Oh my goodness, I gotta wonder if he wanted to do that, or if somebody sent him in.
Maybe he just decided it was time to end things. And he was like, let's flip a coin. If my Spitfire lands, I'll flip another coin. Right?
He died while flipping a coin the second
5 heads in a row. Let's go. I don't know. Going in there was dicey. Also missing your Spitfire at point-blank range, dicey. I don't see a way Dynasty defends this. I mean, Kraken, I'm pretty sure it scales.
If
like,
there is a will,
strongly.
there is a way.
I don't know, man. You got 14 seconds on Rick Mezza. Good luck with your will. Have fun.
Good luck with your will. Oh, we're going to have to rewrite your will at this point. Mowgli still doing a pretty good job at this point. He's going to jump in. Benediction buying a little bit of time. There's the heal. Self-heal. Fountain coming out. Null Wave is down onto Mowgli on the front side for this team. The Dragon's Breath's going to come out. Yeah, it's shiny, and yeah, you got fireworks, and it looks good and everything, but at this point, it's not going to be enough. PT Lamb, Atlas Pauldron applied. Palmatoro soars across the top side of the map. Depth from above won't connect, but it doesn't matter because Tetno Hey drops the axe on him up the healing platform. And 34 minutes into this game, Fnatic giving the fans the true money's worth here in a very deep European Vainglory 8 game.
I like how you have to mention European there. No game would ever go this long in North America. It's a fair point. It's real analysis. What? That was obscene. Let's go to the next one. I want to see some like fights.
Yeah. Hey, Desk, take it away.